It wasn't a dark and stormy night when Supermassive Games released Until Dawn, but the overall creepiness and horror the game crafted left gamers wanting more chances to make life or death decisions for famous Hollywood actors playing horny teens. Rather than stick to the cabin in the woods nature of Until Dawn, its spiritual successor took to the high seas, with fewer recognizable faces portraying would-be survivors, and more in regards of giving the player the most it could in smaller chunks. While not as revolutionary or memorable as its predecessor, Man of Medan seemed to be the beginning of an escalating series of better installments to come. And to come was last year's ghost town of a sequel, Little Hope. Providing a very interesting story, setting, and better gameplay, Little Hope set the bar higher for the developers to outdo. Considering how much I enjoyed Little Hope, actually getting a platinum trophy after finishing the main story by myself and with a friend. The belief Supermassive would deliver again was understandably strong. Like its predecessors, House of Ashes gives gamers the ability to control 5 different characters during various sequences as the protagonists are thrust into the depths of the Middle East during the Iraq War's formative years. It doesn't take long before a majority of the game's mechanics are introduced, from character movement to object interaction to performing quick-time events and story-defining choices, with the latter providing pathways to the game's various endings, including who lives or dies. During my first playthrough solo on the normal difficulty, a new implementation where QuickTime events are actually made more difficult or easier to complete, I was able to surprisingly get everyone out of their potential grave alive, while picking up several trophies including all the collectibles that were a lot easier to attain than in either Man of Medan or Little Hope. Playing with a friend locally in movie night mode allowed me to use only head choices that truly shook up the team's stability. After nearly 12 hours of play, the Platinum Trophy isn't that far off, with some necessary achievements being connected to very precise scenarios and decisions that may only be accomplished by utilizing backup saves if something goes terribly wrong, most likely adding another 10 or so hours to this haunting experience. Supermassive Games has created a formula in regards to its games' presentation and is sticking to it while wisely adjusting the control scheme and the player friendliness in regards to character movement and the in-game camera. Thanks to the setting and enclosed environments, character movement doesn't feel as slow and lethargic even when pressing the walk faster button as it did in Little Hope, though their robotic nature will cause some odd moments, especially when someone is trying to turn around and focus on a particular object. Unlike the last 2 games, the camera is fully controllable with 360 degrees of movement, making it easier to see pathways and identifying collectibles. The implementation of the tactical flashlight on the character's guns also help alleviate issues seen in the darkened areas. Beyond the aforementioned changes, a majority of the gameplay systems from the previous games, including those seen in Until Dawn, return here, including shooting segments, platforming quick-time events, and branching dialogue choices. Little Hope's gameplay influences are, thankfully, more profound here, including quick warnings when a QTE is about to happen, switching between active characters during those more hectic QuickTime events, and the heart monitor QTE that, if the player fails, will most likely alert the enemy of a cowering character's whereabouts. The previously utilized head or heart choices also dictate the personality trait changes of every character, including the squad leader going from headstrong to understanding when interacting with her lover. Unfortunately, like the games before it, certain choices seem significant in House of Ashes, while other moments can actually result in a character's death. Players have to be on their toes at all times, and using a backup save may be for the best just in case due to the incredibly fast quick save feature that automatically saves after every major choice. What is different is the story presentation, mostly thanks to its setting and characters. taking control of battle-hardened protagonists like CIA officer Rachel King, played by Ashley Tisdale, her estranged husband Eric, and even an Iraqi Republican Guard Lieutenant Salim, allows for some interesting moments of emotional tension and political intrigue during a time when patriotism turned into xenophobia. With that being stated, some dialogue options will create eye-rolling moments from the player, especially when it results in the protagonist reacting unnaturally. Also, in regards to the unnatural for human understanding is the adversaries. The previous Dark Pictures games alluded to something horrific terrorizing everyone, only to be undercut by disappointing revelations. House of Ashes avoids this narrative pitfall early on, and sticks with the soldiers' antagonists being fearsome foes that only get more interesting as the story unfolds. The co-op options are where it's at when playing House of Ashes. Having quick discussions or even arguments over possible terrible choices made can make for a memorable experience during movie night mode. Shared story mode actually adds to the story when playing online with a friend, as certain moments are actually solely connected to shared story. Not only that, but shared story mode hides the decisions of the other player that could too change the fate of an entire playthrough. Sadly, players have struggled to start their online games with friends weeks after the game's release, a problem that hopefully will be patched sooner than later. The plethora of collectibles return here, including pieces of information that adds to the game's lore, and special pictures that potentially reveal the fates of certain characters, as well as a tease for the Season 1 finale that is scheduled to come out next year. Technical issues beyond the aforementioned shared story inabilities are sound and graphical glitches, usually reserved for the early hours, including flickering characters and helicopter noise continuing throughout a scene. But once the characters hit the underground, those technical hiccups pretty much go away. Supermassive Games is getting better and executing the premier horror experience in their catalog with each release. House of Ashes sticks to what worked, adapting to what made their older games stumble, and embracing what they didn't with Man of Medan and Little Hope in regards to storytelling, making House of Ashes the best offering in the Dark Pictures Anthology yet. House of Ashes doesn't shake things up to the point of alienating fans of the genre and Supermassive's previous games, opting to simply improve upon its gameplay mechanics and storytelling. The story is a lot stronger here than it was in either Little Hope or Man of Medan, though the dialogue choices may leave something to be desired during certain moments. Though House of Ashes may be the best game in the anthology series so far, gamers who didn't enjoy the previous entries or the genre as a whole won't find anything worth enjoying here. But other gamers looking for a solid fright with the intent of replaying the game a few times either by oneself or with a friend will be happier than a soldier who just outran a creature looking to suck his blood.